Okay, so yeah, turned out that mine did crash on the last file, so I lost the bit of work here from the nose and the mouth and all that. So I'm not going to do that again on camera, but we want to pull out the neck here, so we can go on and do that. What I lost is not going to affect that at all. So I'm just going to make sure I'm back into low res, and I'm going to set my proxy half, just so I'm starting from the same spot every time. And then what I want to do is I just want to check in the side view which faces are actually going to be part of the neck, and you can see his neck is really, I mean, he doesn't have a chin at all. It's coming right out of the front here. So let me just grab these verts right here and just make sure that they're positioned so the neck's going to come out of there under the chin and then all the way back to there. So let's grab those faces in the side view. I'm just going to grab a couple there so I know that's the face where it starts and this is the face where they end. And then I can go into perspective and I can see, you know, where we're going to be grabbing the neck from. And it looks like it's going to be, you know, like all of these here. Maybe these ones. Probably not. No, let's not do that. No. So the thing is that this is like a rectangle shape. So we you know, the neck is going to be round, so I think we need to round off this space first. So this is the same process that we did for the legs when we pulled his legs out of his pelvis, the arms out of his shoulders. The more time we can spend shaping these faces before we extrude, the less work we're going to have after we extrude. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start to shape this into more of a round sort of structure. And so I'll go to vertex, I'll grab the verts, and maybe trying to think whether the slide will work here. So W, left mouse click, go down to transform constraints, edge slide, maybe a surface slide. No, let's do the edge first, and I'll just pull these along their edges, and that's just going to make them slide closer to the points. And then I'll probably leave that, well, let's maybe unexaggerate that slightly. And then we'll move these over as well because we want to have a nice average. Always average the faces size-wise. And actually this one can come over a bit. Maybe a bit more. Try and get that as round as we can. Sure, why not? Maybe switch this now to so W left mouse. Let's switch to a surface slide, and then I can slide it in, and it's going to stay on that face when I move it around. And try and round that. And that one actually looks pretty good the way it is. Let's move these out a bit more. Okay, so I think that's probably about as good as we're going to do. I'm going to switch back to edge slide again and just drag this in. And bring these down as well. I think the edge slide works okay on the border edge. So I'm just trying to keep everything kind of cleaned up. Alright, cool. We'll see what that looks like when we pull it out, and we can always do we do one extrude and then see what it looks like. So let's grab the faces. Oh, look at that, handily enough selected still. Let's check that they're in the right positions again. So chin to back of the head, looks good. Do an extrude, Control E. I'm just gonna hit W, and I'm gonna drag it down. Oh, the slide's on. Undo. W, make sure your slide is off, so that I can just drag it straight out. And I'm gonna flatten it. So R for scale, grab the scale Y, pull it in. You can see it goes completely sort of flat, and then I can just use rotate to tilt that back into play, and then maybe down a bit here. Oh, okay, so cat problem dealt with. Yeah, so I'm going to straighten it, maybe scale it out a little bit. And, I'm trying to get it to match the reference, so there we go. Maybe a bit more of a rotation. And I'm going to leave it there, and I'm going to see what I have. So when I go into perspective here, we can see how we've got the start of his neck. The issue is going to be proxy half here. So we've got this borderline now, row of faces here. So we're gonna have to get rid of that, and we could either get rid of the proxy and mirror the head and do this, or we can just keep going, knowing that we'll have to come in and have to deal with this row of faces later. So I think that's what I'm inclined to do right now. Let's see if I hit 3. Still looks alright, I guess. F8. Come down. Yeah, I mean, got a sort of a jawline, I guess you could call it, going back. And we can decide whether that's something maybe it looks like it should be, maybe not quite as sharp. So we can deal with that afterwards. So let me do a little bit more. Let's add some more neck. So back into 1, and I'll just grab these faces again. And there they are. So 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And let's do another extrude. Side view. Control E. W. Pull it down. E for rotate. Flatten it some more. Pull it down. Now it's a bit wide, so we'll just scale it. And then maybe if we grab this edge and just kind of try and get it a bit more centered, and get this to kind of move forward. So it looks like it sort of turns in the back and it's bulging in the front. But either way, I mean, it's not too bad. That's probably okay. And the only thing is that these faces are quite long and stuff, so I might just maybe insert a couple edge loops just to so that we can cut these faces up. So mesh tool, insert edge loop tool, and I'll just stick one in there, and I'll stick one in there. And if I need to, let's just go back to face and maybe just grab these and drag it down a little bit lower. Once we bring the head into the final file with the rest of the objects, then rest of the model, then we can see whether we need to make it longer, whatever needs to be done. So I'm going to grab these verts, pull them in, sort of accentuate this bend that he has kind of in the back of his neck. Yeah, it looks about right, I guess. A little Adam's apple. And sure. So that's the neck. I mean, it's quite simple. You just have to figure out where the faces are that match your neck, and then round it as much as you can, and extrude it. So I guess I still got to add in all that work I lost, and I'm just going to save this right now. Control S. And then the last steps, we'll have to mirror the geometry, and then we'll maybe fine-tune the shape a little bit and kind of reference, average some verts, and use the sculpt and relax tool to sort of clean it up. Add a bit more thickness here for inside his mouth. It's a detail that I forgot. That's about it. So yeah, I think one more video. As far as the hairs go, I think those would just be separate objects, and we would probably just use some NURBS curves to create that. It should be pretty straightforward, just have them floating off his head. So let me replace the work that I lost, and then we'll come back with the last video, promise.